Fat Shark just released a Q&A for their upcoming itemization update that answers many questions that we have. So let's check it out. The first clarification we get is that the Blessing sticker book will be directly converted into Mastery Experience, which does confirm my previous theory that the best way to prepare for this update is to unlock as many blessings as you can now to get a head start in the new system. It's also mentioned that with this new system, we're able to learn new blessings we haven't previously unlocked, but only if we want to. It's hinted at a bit later that the Mastery system won't function as a progression track like Hestia's Penances, but more akin to a shop that we can presumably spend various kinds of currency in. They specifically mention that gaining Mastery will give us blessing points, which will allow us to purchase blessings to unlock, and they also confirm that at max Mastery, we will be able to unlock every single blessing that a weapon family has to offer, and can freely switch out both blessings without ever having them locked. Speaking of weapon families, they clarify that weapons are grouped into weapon families, and playing with one weapon from these families earns you Mastery XP for that specific family. This is essentially how it works now, as unlocking a blessing for a group of weapons unlocks it for every weapon in that group, but it's nice to have some clarification on that part. They also mention in another comment that they're adding lower tiers to higher tier blessings in order to make them more easily attainable. When it comes to Mastery Experience, though, they clarify that we will earn higher levels of Mastery Experience the higher difficulty we play, with Mastery XP being awarded at the end of a mission like Ordo Dockets and Character Experience, and even on a failed mission, we will still gain some Mastery XP. They also mention that Mastery and Blessing unlocks are account-wide and are therefore shared across all characters. They also make it crystal clear that existing weapons will not be touched nor taken away from us. We will be able to keep them and presumably be able to change them freely without weapon locks. Something else they made clear, though, is that blessings are being tweaked for this new system. We have no idea what kind of changes they are planning, but my personal guess is that some of the stronger blessings are probably going to get nerfed in order to limit the increase in power that the removal of weapon locks will bring. The final thing that they attempt to clarify is that the idea of weapon potential isn't a new stat, but just used to refer to the distribution of a weapon's stats. The biggest thing they clarify, though, is that each weapon on creation has a certain number of stat points that can be distributed into each individual stat, and that their meaning of maxing out a weapon does not mean increasing every stat on a weapon to its maximum, which is 80%, but simply allocating all of these stats points into a stat. It's a very confusing way to explain the system, but from what I understand, this essentially means that it will be impossible to increase every stat or characteristic on a weapon to their absolute max, and we will have to pick and choose which ones we want to increase and by how much. Now, what does this all mean? They also explicitly state that they are keeping the RNG loot system in place via Melk's shop, the armory, and Hadron's upgrade system, which means that this new crafting system will probably look something like this. The way in which we obtain weapons does not change, either getting it from a drop after a mission or by buying it from Melk or the armory. If it's not max level, you can go upgrade it using resources at Hadron just like we do right now, and if you already have some mastery unlocked, you can freely change the blessings if you want. You then take that weapon into the game and play with it to earn Mastery XP, which will unlock various kinds of currency to allow you to purchase the ability to alter your weapons as you want. The only thing we know right now is that gaining Mastery will earn us Blessing points, which lets us buy Blessing unlocks to use on every weapon within a given family. But in order to unlock Blessings for every weapon family, you will have to grind Mastery in each of the 36 weapon families in the game, 10 of which are Ogryn exclusive and are not shared between classes. 36 is a guess from me just eyeballing the weapons in the game. There are weapons that technically aren't in the same family but do share the same blessings, like the Crusher and the Thunderhammers, which could be paired together in a single weapon family and lower the total families to 35, but I'm not sure if they're actually going to do that. It also sounds as if the more mastery we earn, the more we can upgrade a weapon's stats, but never to the point where we'll be able to upgrade every stat to its maximum. We'll have to pick and choose, which does mean that RNG will still play a role in weapon creation, just not nearly as big of a role as it did previously. This makes it sound as if this isn't really a total rework of the crafting system, but more of a soft rework and new addition or two that aims to help curb frustrations with RNG. I'd like to be optimistic with this system since I am, quite frankly, tired of being pessimistic, but there are some things that do concern me. The first is how our current blessing sticker book transfers over to this new system. The more blessings we have unlocked in our current sticker book will transfer over to more mastery in the new system to help give us a jumpstart, but how much is it going to transfer over? Do we need to unlock every single blessing on every weapon in a weapon family to have enough mastery to unlock all of the blessings in this new mastery system, or will we need less than that? Because from the way it's worded, it sounds as if we will have to purchase each individual tier of blessing rather than just buying a single instance of that blessing. It may very well be a system in which we must purchase 5 out of 8 tier 1 blessings before we're allowed to purchase tier 2 blessings, kind of like how Helldiver's Battle Pass functions, and a system like that could eat up mastery points quickly and cause us to run out of our rolled over mastery points by the time we get up to the tier 4 blessings. This is my biggest concern, as there is a big issue with getting blessings right now. It's near impossible to find tier 1 and tier 2 blessings on a character at or near max level, which makes it incredibly difficult to unlock every blessing unless you repeatedly create new characters in order to grind for those blessings, which is tedious and, quite frankly, stupid. I foresee a potential issue in which we will have to grind to unlock blessings that we had previously already unlocked, and in order for that to not happen, the amount of blessings you need to have collected in your sticker book now cannot be higher than, say, like 40%. Any higher and you run the risk of forcing people to create new characters over and over again to grind blessings, which no one should have to do. Also, there has to be an overall improvement on stat RNG when we obtain weapons. We're still going to be at the mercy of RNG when getting weapons from the armory or Melk, and this crafting update won't fix much if the weapons in Melk's shop are still mostly trash, and it takes hundreds of thousands of Wardo dockets to get a single decently rolled weapon from the armory. The armory should have a minimum power level of somewhere around 340, while Melk's shop should have a minimum power level of somewhere around 360. Otherwise, we'll still have to spend hundreds of thousands of Ordo dockets to get a weapon with a decent stat spread to even begin crafting. It was funny the first couple of times to get a weapon with 1% damage, but it's not funny anymore and shouldn't happen. And lastly, I'm thankful that Blessing unlocks are account-wide, but weapons and expertise are still locked to each character and does not change the problem of Ogryn having 0 shared progression with any of the other classes. I have a theory that the reason we don't see many Ogryns compared to other classes isn't because people don't want to play Ogryn, but because people don't want to start over the grind for them. This update doesn't solve that issue, and depending on how the sticker book transfers over could potentially make the situation even worse. I'm not a game designer, so I'm not sure how exactly they could solve this issue. Maybe they could make it so that a certain percentage of earned mastery XP per mission is also applied evenly across all of Ogryn's weapons, but I do think something has to change in regards to Ogryn specifically, because despite them saying they're allowing weapon families in the future to be shared across all classes, they physically cannot do that for Ogryn because of class and weapon restrictions. All in all, I am cautiously optimistic about this update, but I do see a few flaws within the system that needs to be ironed out first before I'm fully on board. What do you think of this update, though? Let me know down in the comments below.